Hi people, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to have you watching this video. My name is Mary and I'm a practicing lawyer in Nigeria. So today I want to discuss a topic that is quite important because the title, by now you must have seen the title, and why I feel it's quite important is because people consult me and ask me, barrister, what documents do I need to put together for my divorce application? And some people feel like, okay, there should be more than that, but the law is actually straight. Like the law, though the law is dynamic, but when it comes to dissolution of marriage, I think the most important and the first leg of when it comes to divorce petition is a prayer to dissolve a marriage, that is divorce. Okay, so and that is all I want to discuss in this video. I just hope that you sit back and enjoy this video. And please do not forget that I'm not an advocate for dissolution of marriage. I am not an advocate for it because somebody commented on in one of my videos that I should shut up. Why don't I recommend counseling? Why don't I recommend fasting and prayer and all of those things? And if you're watching my video and you are my client, like probably you consulted me and you give me the brief to file a dissolution of marriage on your behalf, the one thing I'm quite certain is I must have informed you to try settlement and give you time. As a matter of fact, when people consult me, that is why I oftentimes I tell them that take your time. I didn't make them to understand that dissolution of marriage is actually, it can be quite emotional. I mean, for the litigants, for the parties. Okay, so I try to prepare people ahead of it that take your time, take your time, take your time. There is actually a particular couple that I even mediated. God uses me to mediate between them. So me making videos out there is just because this is an aspect of law that I feel when I started my YouTube channel, many people ask questions around this, and that is why I'm making this video. Okay, so please do not forget to like, subscribe. You're yet to subscribe. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much. You're welcome. I have other videos. My YouTube channel is not all about just about dissolution of marriage. Okay, people find good reason to dissolve their marriage. I mean, domestic violence, for me it's a good reason. If the other party is not willing to change the first time, the second time, the third time, like for me it's a valid reason. It's a valid reason. I'm entitled to my opinion. Okay, it's a valid reason for me, for anyone to walk away from any marriage. Okay, so when we talk about documents you need to put together for your dissolution or for your divorce, it all depends on your prayers. Okay, what I mean is that, for example, you can be requesting from the court or praying the court to dissolve your marriage, that is divorce. Secondly, you can be praying the court to give you custody of your children. You can be praying that the court to give custody and maintenance. Then distribution of division of property, not distribution, division of property. So that's, for example, those are three prayers. So for these three prayers, what are the documents you need to put together to grant, for the court to grant you those three prayers? You can't just come to the court and say, my lord, um that property, I acquired it with him. I want the court to grant that property. Like, I want that property, the court to make that property be my own and things like that. Court is not your father Christmas, so you need to prove everything. For you to say the court to award you that property, you need to prove to the court why you want the court to do that for you. Okay, so this is actually not really your tax. Your lawyer will guide you on how to go about it. So let's just talk about it. For the first leg, which is the most important leg when it comes to divorce petition, you're praying to the court for to dissolve your marriage. The document you need for that leg, the most important document you need for that leg is your marriage certificate. And your marriage certificate must be in the original form. If it's not in the original form, it should be in the certified true copy form. That is the CTC. So you don't need to be afraid. Probably you're watching this video and you're like, oh, the original marriage certificate is not in my custody. Probably I lost it, or probably you can't find it, or it's in the custody of the other person. You don't need to worry. What you need to do is, in as much as you know the marriage registry, you know the address, you know where it's located. So what you need to do is to send someone there if you are within that jurisdiction, that environment. Go there and pay for a certified true copy. I think between 20 to 30,000 naira you will get that. Okay, so a certified true copy is because a photocopy cannot work, a scanned copy in your mail cannot work. They can only work for the purpose of putting the divorce process together. But during evidence, you need either the original or the CTC. This is because in law, there is something we call admissibility of, let's say, let me just put it this way. For every document, you need original form. That is what they recognize. Okay, the original form. So if you don't have the original, we call that the secondary evidence. The secondary evidence. Okay, if you have the original, that is primary evidence. If you don't have the original, we call it secondary evidence. But it all depends. In some situation, you can use a photocopy, but I don't want to confuse you people. In this context, what you need is a CTC. This is because that marriage certificate originated from a public office. So for the court to rely on that document and not the secondary evidence, it must be a CTC, because that is what the court will use to test that, okay, this document is actually something it can rely on. You have not gone to how can I put it, forge a document. So it will have for you to know the difference between original and CTCs. It's just the same, but from their registry, they will write some things on it. Probably the registrar or somebody who has the, can I put the word, the most superior in that registry will write some notes on it. So that is what you need. Don't be ignorant of that. A photocopy, the other counsel, if I'm the one representing the other party and you are tendering a photocopy of your marriage certificate, I will object. And most likely, most likely 99%, the court will uphold my objection. Okay, so if you're bringing a photocopy, because it's a public document. So in essence, for the first leg, which is the dissolution of the marriage, what you need is your marriage certificate, the original form, or the CTC. I think I've explained that aspect. So to go further, that is the most important one actually. But to go further, probably you are certain that, oh, this man used to beat you, has done this, has done that. There was a time you were in coma. There was a time you had high blood pressure. Like you're just asserting some things that you have probably medical evidence. So if it's a government hospital, just make sure whatsoever notes you're giving you is being stamped and everything. You can use that as well to buttress your point, but that is not necessary. I mean, that can just up you, provided, for example, if your major leg, the major leg of the decision of marriage is probably domestic violence, even though we don't have domestic violence as a grant like that, but we have a grant that's cover things like domestic violence, okay, when it comes to grants for dissolution of marriage, for divorce, okay. So if you have those documents, you can also attach probably, or maybe when you are being, maybe God forbid, in the pool of your own blood, probably you have a picture of it, um things like that, or probably when your eyes are swollen or things like that, okay. God forbid, I'm not praying that for anyone watching this video, okay. So those, like if you have pictures of that, of those events, you can attach it. So your lawyer knows what to do. There's another document that must be attached to that, to those pictures, okay, because they are pictures. There is this section 84 of the Evidence Act that you don't need all of this fact. It's just something that your lawyer, who you will brief or you must have briefed, would put all of those documents together to attach to that pictures, to those pictures. But don't forget that when it comes to divorce as the first leg, dissolution of marriage, is it the same thing as divorce? When it comes to that particular leg, what you need is your marriage certificate. Without a marriage certificate, like how do you want to tell the court you're truly married to Mr. A or Mr. B? Okay, so that is basic document you need for that leg. So when it comes to custody and maintenance of the children, the documents you need, it all depends. If that is one of your prayer, in some situation, some marriage, there are no children, so you don't even need to talk about that leg at all. So, but in a situation whereby there are children, the documents you may need to, if you want the court to grant you custody, that you want the children to be with you, just know that you need to have document like probably the school fees you have been paying, the accommodation you have paid for, because those are the things you can use to convince the court. There are a lot of factors the court will actually put into consideration before the court can grant you custody of your child or your children. I have a video on that. I made a video a long time ago on that, on the factors that the court will consider. The court will consider the age, the sex, how, not really how wealthy you are, but how you can provide. So you won't be surprised if somebody as wealthy as Dangote and another person a businesswoman, and both of them are fighting for custody over a child. You won't be surprised that the court can grant the businesswoman who doesn't even have as much as Dangote, because there are factors. It's not about who is wealthy, okay? Because many people actually have that misconception, like, oh, this man is so wealthy, they will take my children away from me. It's not about that. If you can provide the school fees, you don't have to take the child to a British school. The court will not see that as an edge. Like, oh, the other man can take the children to the most expensive school. No. But if you can afford a good school, accommodation, the interest of the child, the psychology, like, will you be a present parent? I'm just digressing. These ones you may not really have document to support them. Okay. For example, if you have anything to prove to the court that you're a parent that actually maybe you work from home, maybe you have your um what's it now, contract of employment saying that okay, everything you do from home. You can even use that as a document to prove to the court, like, oh my lord, I am always at home. I can go and take my children to school in the morning, in the evening go pick them, unlike the other person who is working in a particular office and is always in the office from 8 to, he will leave the house by 7 and he will not come back till 9 o'clock. The interest of the child, of the child in question, is what the court will be like, okay, this one will have more time. Although the other person can actually get a nanny, considering the age of the child, or somebody, a driver, things like that. So the court will just use that discretion to check what is fair. I think about 7 to 10 things that the court will check. The court sometimes can also ask the child, who do you want to stay with? But the court will also be sure that that child has not been, can I use the word program, has not been probably coached by the father or the mother, like mention my name, things like that. Okay, so for custody and maintenance, basic what I've been saying is that document that would prove to the court that you can afford the school fees, you can your what's it called, a pay slip, the school fees receipt that you have been paying so far, the receipt of the accommodation, even pictures of how the house is being organized. Those are the things the court will use to consider how far you can, how whether you'll be a present parent, whether you'll be able to take good care of the child. So when it comes to custody and maintenance of the children, those are the documents you would need to prepare if you're filing for a divorce and you know you want to request for custody of those children. So that is the second leg. So the third leg is division of property. If you're telling the court, like probably when you were married, or when you're still married, until when the court make the verdict, that during the marriage you acquire some properties with the other party. So you need to prove certain things. Is there a statement of account of when you made payments for some blocks, some cement, or you received from where you paid for those things, or your statement of account? Anything you can use to prove to the court that okay, you made certain contribution, even if it's as little as 50,000 naira in a building of, let's say, 5 million naira. The court doesn't check how little or how minute that is. The court want to check if truly you supported. And I have read, I read some authorities whereby the court mentioned that even if the party does not contribute any money into that project, the emotional part, the part that the woman was in that marriage. Now I'm talking about the woman, because oftentimes when it comes to division of property, it's always from a woman requesting that I must take part of that man's property, or shares or cars, or things like that. Okay, there was a time I was in court. It should be up to 8 months. And the woman alleged, I don't know, judgment must have been given by now, alleged that while the man was building the school, she was there. The woman, the woman was the one managing the school, while the man still, like, he has another job then. So the woman is only the one available in the school. And the woman made about two vital points. The first point the woman made, when it comes to I'm talking about division of property now. The woman made the point that she paid for, was it block or cement, about probably 32,000 naira as at that time, that she made those payments. And I think she was able to prove it. She brought the receipt from where she paid for the block. That is one point. Another point she made that actually I know that most likely the court will grant something in her favor is the fact that she took the school, like the school grew from about, is it 19 pupils to a large number. You know, that is not money, but some way, can I how can I put it? Is it physical or emotional support that the woman actually gave into it? You know, the court will check all of this. One thing I cannot say is that I cannot for sure say that this is what the court will grant her. But the point is just that most likely she will get something out of that school. You know, even though it can be very, very funny sometimes. For example, if a woman and a man are fighting over a particular property, like, oh, when you acquire this property, I was there, you had nothing, I put my money into this, and all of those things, you know. How then would the court divide a home? Like, okay, we say the husband should be staying upstairs and the woman should stay downstairs. It's quite funny, but I think there was an authority I read, and the court made it like the court awarded the boys' quarter to the woman. So the woman puts tenants and she collects her rent, and that was it. That was it. So it all depends. The man can now approach the woman like, okay, let me pay you off for this property, for this boys' quarter. What is the worth of it as of today? What is it? How much do you want me to just pay you off so that he can have the entire property to himself? So basically, those are the documents I have mentioned. Do not forget the first leg, divorce, you need the marriage certificate in the original form or the CTC. When it comes to custody and maintenance of children, you need to prove to court that if the court gives you custody, can you afford the school fees? Not necessarily a big school, but a reasonable school. Can you afford the school fees, the accommodation, and things like that? Even though the other party will still support, but you need those two basic things are quite important. Okay. So, and when it comes to if you're also requesting for division of property, you cannot just assert. He who asserts must prove. So if you're asserting that you have supported, you have done this, you have done that, you need to at least, if there are documents, attach those documents to prove it. So that is basically all I have for you in this video. I hope this video educates you. Thank you so much. Please do not forget to like, comment. If you have a question and you feel it's quite confidential, my email address will be in the description box. Thank you so much, and I will see you in another video.